There are moments in our lives when everything changes. These moments force us to change our priorities, view the world differently, and send us on a different course. For me, one of those moments was when we discovered that our first son would be born with a critical heart defect. I've wanted to tell his story for a while, primarily because stories like these were my source of hope and comfort in the months leading up to his surgery. But now I have another reason, because on November 3rd, I'm running in the New York City Marathon to help raise money and support for research for congenital heart defects, and I hope that Graham's story can be an inspiration for you to help. Finally, I guess I made this video for myself. It's my motivation for New York. It's an emotional outlet for me, and it serves as a reminder of what we went through so that I won't ever forget. This is the story of my son Graham. It all started on April 7th, 2014. I was in Dallas when Sarah texted me to call her immediately. I knew she was at the doctor and my stomach sank. At 20 weeks pregnant, the doctor had discovered a critical heart defect called Tetrology of Fallot. As Sarah relayed the information, I can still vividly remember standing in that empty annex of a conference center, completely overcome with sheer panic. It felt like my whole entire world had just been turned upside down. Those months leading up to his birth were tough, as our emotions swung between positivity and worry. I read and watched stories of dozens of families who I'll never meet, telling their incredible stories of facing this disease and how they managed through it. It gave me hope. You ready?
I guess.
On August 11th, Graham was born, and when Sarah and I first met him, we had an immediate sense of relief. To Sarah and I, he looked just perfect. He was pink, not blue like many heart babies, and everything appeared normal on the outside. Due to his condition, though, we didn't have much time in the delivery room with him.
All right.
Yeah, I know.
I'll come with you.
So sorry.
No, you've been planning for this.
They asked me to be the one to go upstairs with him to ICU for observation. I felt so awful for Sarah that day. She had to wait several more hours to spend any quality time with him. He stayed in the ICU for 2 days, but due to some concerns, they decided to transfer him to Eggleston, one of the premier pediatric cardiology hospitals in the world that happened to only be a few miles away. It seems so trivial now, but that transfer was just awful. Watching my son get put in an acrylic life support box and transferred via ambulance reminded me just how serious his condition was. When we got to Eggleston, we still weren't sure if we'd be able to take him home without surgery, or if he'd have to go on and have his open heart procedure. After another 2 days, we finally got to go home. Over those months as we waited for surgery, I found myself loving this beautiful baby more and more every day. It made wrestling with the emotions of impending heart surgery that much harder. The surgery date became this pending moment that our whole lives revolved around. I couldn't wait for it to come and get past it, but I also dreaded the very thought of its approach. I fought to keep my emotions together in those months, and I vividly remember moments alone where I'd break down in tears just thinking about it.
Graham is about to experience heart surgery here in the weeks ahead, and
open heart surgery. It's still scary to think about. They would literally stop Graham's little heart and put him on bypass while they mechanically changed the way his heart was formed. I had read way too much about mortality rates of these procedures, and even at the best hospitals in the world, things seem to hover around 1%. 1% may not sound like much if you're talking about the weather, but when it's your child's life, it's absolutely terrifying.
So today is November 23rd, 2014, and it's the night before your surgery, and we're decorating for Christmas, and you seem to be very interested in the lights, and we're gonna have to get up very early tomorrow morning to head to the hospital. And I hope that you watch this when you're much older and you don't remember any of this. I love you.
On November 24th, 2014, the moment finally came. I still don't know how we stayed so calm that day. Handing him over to the nurse was one of the toughest things we'd ever gone through. And all we could do was let God take control and trust that he was in good hands.
Everyone get their kisses in? Yeah. Okay. Alright, and I'll give you a call as soon as we get started. Thank you.
We waited for 5 hours that day, trying to keep our mind off the magnitude of what was happening, as just one floor away our baby's life was in a surgeon's hands. Time moved slowly, and we waited. I remember I was just about to get up and ask a nurse again if there were any updates when I spotted Graham's surgeon walking towards the double glass doors of the waiting room. I'll never forget the look on his face. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but his words only confirmed it. The surgery was a success.
We're coming to see you, Graham.
At 1:30 that day, we finally got to see our baby, and despite the visual of him being assisted by countless medical machines, we were relieved. The medical staff came to talk with us, and we learned that Graham had a slight arrhythmia from the surgery. We knew that one risk of his surgery was that he might need a pacemaker if the electrical system in his heart was damaged. We desperately did not want that for him. Finally, after several more hours of waiting, his heart rhythm leveled out, and despite a few other small hiccups along the way, his recovery was spectacular.
Alright, buddy. We're in the step-down unit now. Only 24 hours post-surgery, and you got out of the ICU. They had to put you back on some oxygen because your oxygen levels were low, but they're not concerned. They think it's because of your stomach. You've got a little bit of a full belly now, and probably some gas. So you're a little uncomfortable and a little more bloated. But overall, you're doing well. Yeah.
Our 4 days at the hospital for his surgery was such a whirlwind of emotion. And perhaps the most emotional element of it all was the outpouring of love we received from friends, family, and even people we had never met. I'll never be able to convey how appreciative we were of the support we got that day.
Graham, we just got word that you get to go home today. Daddy's pretty excited.
Mommy's really excited.
Are we going home today? Yeah, there we go. Alright, Graham, we're ready to go. Back to our lives. Back where you belong. You get cleaned. Ooh.
It's been 4.5 years now, and Graham's doing great. He'll need another open heart procedure, likely when he's a teenager or a young adult, to repair the pulmonary valve which was removed during his surgery. But otherwise, he's going to live a full and normal life. Life is so much better with him. He makes us laugh and smile. He entertains us for hours on end. We are so grateful to the doctors, researchers, and families that fought this before us. They've given us the most amazing gift in the world, a full life for our son. I'll never be able to repay those that paved the way for us, but hopefully I can make a small dent in the outcomes of those who come after. We've been fortunate, but many babies who have heart defects don't have the same outlook as Graham. 15% of babies born with critical heart defects won't live to the age of 18. As time goes on, it's easy for me to forget what we went through. Spending time with Graham, you'd never know anything was wrong. But I can't let myself do that. There's still so much more we can do. Hey Graham. So you're pretty excited to go to New York?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why we're going to New York?
Why? Because we need to do the New York Marathon.
Who's doing it? Are you doing it?
No, you're doing it.
Oh, I'm doing it?
Yeah.
Why am I running it?
Because you gotta do a race.
But do you know why I'm running it?
Why?
I'm raising money.
Oh my gosh.
What am I raising money for, do you know?
Buying toys.
You think I'm raising money to buy toys?
Yes.
So, Graham, I'm running to raise money.
Yeah.
Raising money for kids with heart defects. Do you know that you were born with a heart defect?
What? Yes.
Yes? Do you have like the coolest scar in the world?
Yeah, the coolest.
Is that your scar?
No, it's just like, my scar is actually like white skin.
Yeah? Do you remember having your surgery?
No.
No? So you and Mommy gonna watch me run?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you gonna cheer for me?
Yes.
What are you gonna do if Daddy cries at the end when he sees you?
I'm just gonna give you a kiss.
Oh, I love you, buddy.
The game store that's near that pizza place. There's a worm.
There's a worm. Yeah, he's crawling.
Do you know what?
What?
That worm that I saw on the hike was like this. It was like this.
Like that?
It was sliding.
Yeah. Do you want to run too?
No.
No? 26 miles? You could do 26 miles.
I've done that before.
No, you've never done that before. Do you think you could do that?
No.
No?
No.
How far do you think you could run?
Like this, like
Like if I said run, how far do you think you could go?
1 mile.
1 mile?
Yeah.
How fast do you think you would do it?
The finish line was so close that I just like run like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes? Fist bump?